Is there anything in software that still really excites you? I know you were just talking earlier about being excited to kind of go deep into observability and really master that side of it. What about the future of software really excites you?
I'm still a language geek at heart, and so there's some stuff that's come out in some of the newer, more popular languages, and in particular, I'm thinking of like TypeScript, Go, and Rust. That still really excites me. The application of some more functional oriented principles into those languages,
Hmm.
the more flexible and modern look at the way they approach types. Um, like one of my favorite features, I think, in both Go and TypeScript is the use of structural typing over nominal typing, where
Hmm.
yes, you have named types all over the place, but you know, I think it's brilliant that in Go you do small interfaces everywhere, and if you have a struct that matches that interface, you don't have to do something to say this struct implements that interface. It's just the presence of the matching signatures that allows you to interoperate with something that accepts those interfaces. It allows for a very large level of interoperability and flexibility.
Yeah,
And
relying
TypeScript is
on
the same way.
just relying. I like that a lot about it too, and just relying on the structure to be the same as long as it has these couple properties or whatever. You can use the types in a way that is extremely flexible, and I've really gotten to love that. And Robert Menke was the one who opened my eyes to that a little bit, showing me the pros and cons with a language that doesn't do that.
Yeah,
And it really, I was like that. It almost seemed like it was should be a given, and I get the
yeah,
reasons why it might not be, but it
right.
seemed just very intuitive. Like that. Of course, that's how type should work, right?
Yeah, no, I love that. I also love TypeScript in particular, how flexible and expressive its type system is. I mean, there are still times I'll reach for things like record and just an any and unknown to when I need to get something done a little faster. But when I've really pushed this come to shove, I've been able to express almost everything I've wanted to do in a type system in a not always perfectly intuitive at first way, but in a way that once you do it, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. And for me, one of the bigger things is opting into it and incrementally adding it to
Mm-hmm.
an existing project. Like almost,
Yeah,
we have
I
a fair amount of
I love
projects
that.
that are still in JavaScript, and being able to switch the file to .ts from .js, and for any given new feature you're going to do, say, okay, as part of this, I'm going to add to the scope of the project, like just rewrite it in TypeScript, whether it's this chunk of files, and even in the TS config, the way you can kind of very fine grained choose what should be type checked, so your editor is not yelling at you about everything. That has
Yeah,
been incredible. The incremental opt-in or the ability to use as much of it as you need has been incredible.
yeah. I first read about gradual typing when I was at Microsoft, um, and it enthralled me right away. Just this idea of being able to slowly opt in. Because one of the things I realized early on at Microsoft, like I said, I was very much a dynamic language purist, but I saw the value in static types, especially at cross team boundaries, cross company boundaries, like that API layer where you actually are interoperating with somebody who is outside of your team that you can't just turn to and say, hey, what's going on here?
Yep.
Having static types is really beneficial there, in my opinion. But at the time, I also really love the flexibility of not having to do them inside. And so gradual typing was like, oh, that would allow you to do that. These days, especially in languages like Go and TypeScript, I love having types throughout the system. I think they're, with how flexible and expressive they are. But I still love the fact that when I want to, I can back that out if I need to, or like you say, coming to a project that isn't natively TypeScript, I can easily interoperate.